Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, welcome everyone. We're going to talk about guys today.
Yeah.
Things that men deal with in terms of emotion, their whole position in life, society, what that does to, for, against men. And he works with everybody from men, women, adolescent, teens, all of the above. She's going to tell us something that's very surprising, and you're probably not even going to believe it, but it's scientifically proven about guys.
You will not believe it.
I still don't. She is an amazing psychologist. Dr. Gloria Vanderhorst is back with us. Welcome, Gloria. How are you?
I am good today. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be with you.
It's great to have you back here, and especially because of this one factual item about men, boys, guys. Go ahead.
Right. Think about it, right? First of all, let's look at this fact. So in terms of birth, boys are more vulnerable in utero than females. There are more miscarriages with males than females. Did you know that?
I did not. Wow.
Yeah. So it says to us that there's something unique about males. And on some level, you can kind of be proud of that, right? In some way, the cosmos has decided that we're looking at males in a very different way than females. So it is true that they abort in utero more than females do. But it's also true that males are born with more emotional intelligence than females. 8 to 10% more emotional intelligence than females. And that should be gobsmacked. That should be one of those things that goes, what?
It does.
Really?
It does. And I will be using that from now until the end of my days.
Yes, I am intelligent, emotionally intelligent more than you.
So define what emotional intelligence actually means.
Okay, so if we look at an infant, a male infant, right, the range of expression, the range of sensitivity is broader in males than it is in females. They sense more, they experience more, they express more. Now, what do you think happens as a result of that?
They are told, this is after they're born, right?
Yeah, these are infants. These are infants.
I would say because of society, right from the get-go, that they're told to suppress all of those emotions.
They experience that, right? Women, not fathers, mothers care for infants, male and female. So the interaction between mother and infant is significant. And mothers attend more to the emotional expression of females than they do to males. So even though boys come into the world with a broader range of emotional expression, more emotional sensitivity, more emotional intelligence, the very fact that most of their interaction is with women narrows that expression. It just cuts it off.
I find it confusing because if mom spends more time with her son than dad does, and her son has more emotional intelligence, I would think
expression.
I would think that she would nurture that and be plugged into it. But is it because of society?
No, she doesn't. All right. It is okay. So think of it. So infants express emotion in terms of intensity, right? So I'm either broader in my happiness, broader in my discomfort. I'm broader in everything when I'm a male. Okay. And so mother's response to that is, whoa, right? If you're kind of more expressive with irritation, I don't want to
Uh,
tolerate that, experience that. I want to narrow you in, right? I want you to come kind of closer and not have this broader expression of intensity. And so
hmm.
mothers actually undermine the emotional intelligence of an infant boy. That
Would
should
you
blow your mind.
would you say let's give an example. Let's say a 2-year-old boy.
No, we're talking about infants.
We've
We're not
okay.
talking
All
about
right.
2-year-olds. We're
Okay.
talking about infants, all right? And the emotional expression
Okay.
of an infant male as compared to an infant female.
So let's take it back. Infant male. Um,
More irritated,
he's yeah. And
more
right.
broader in terms of the expression, more irritation, more mobility,
And
right?
it's often been said that boys are harder when they're younger, but then it flips around and now, girls are
Right.
easier. So that boy, let's say he is frustrated about whatever. He's hungry, but
Right.
he expresses himself with much more
More
impact.
intensity. Right.
Yes, than a
More
girl might.
intensity,
And then mom's
more
like,
impact.
oh God, I don't want to deal with that. Oh,
Right.
we'll do
Yeah.
anything to shut it
She
down.
wants to narrow him in. And when she does that, she robs him of his ability to manage his own feelings.
Wow.
Yeah. It's mind-blowing to think about the impact of that because as boys grow, then the same thing is happening. We are less accepting of emotional expression from boys than we are from girls. Boys do not cry. We don't allow them to cry. Girls can cry, right? Boys, can they be sweet and tender? No.
Mm-mm.
No,
Yeah.
they cannot. Girls can be sweet and tender. All right. So we have taken the, if you want, the genetic design of a male, and we've narrowed that design and said, we're going to socialize you in this particular way so that your emotional expression actually narrows to less than the emotional expression of a female. And then, all right, we grow you up. We ask you to marry a female, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the female with a broader emotional expression. You have the narrower emotional expression, and we expect you to fit together. Not going to happen. Do you know why the divorce rate is 50%?
Oh, I know. And I will tell you straight out, and I'm okay to admit it. I feel that, and maybe we don't talk, guys don't talk about this stuff, but I feel that I am more emotional than most men I know. And I think I'm wired that way, a
Right?
little bit different. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Right.
And
Appropriate,
I don't really
really?
care. That's the way I am. If you don't like it, sorry. That's
Yeah,
the,
really.
I'm proud of it because I feel like I'm in touch with me and
Right,
others where I
right.
don't shut them out. So I want to go back to the infant. You have a
Mm-hmm.
boy, you have a girl. They're both
Right,
infants.
right.
If we didn't shut down the male, the boy,
Mm-hmm.
and they were treated equally,
Right.
what would happen?
The boy has much more emotional intelligence than the female does. And so, in terms of like social advance, interest, in the benefit for society, we would have much more expansion of care for people in the culture. We'd have
Mm.
much more expansion of interest in emotional development. It would make a huge difference in the way the
Wow.
society is organized. Just a huge difference.
If the emotional playing field was equal
Mm,
and the male, the female, life went on, they're 30,
hmm
hypothetical here.
hmm
Would you say that the male would be way more in touch with his emotion or
Oh,
with emotion?
way more in touch with his emotions. Instead, what we do is
Hmm.
we shut those down at, you know, early infancy is when we shut them down. We actually close the door in preschool.
Hmm.
Then are really little boys are not allowed to express emotional needs, right? They're not allowed to cry. They're not allowed to whine. Do you know how often girls whine or cry? It's just like incredible. It's a dynamic difference.
Uh, it's amazing what we're talking about. Um, still blown away. I'm still shocked about this whole thing. Um, what happens later in life when that male tries to find a woman and the dynamics that are going on there? I have my own view of it, but what's
Mhm.
happening here?
All right, so look at the expectation. All right, so we allow females to have a broader range of emotional capability, and we narrow the emotional capability for men. And then we ask them to share life together, to share interactions, right? To share child rearing, to share problem solving,
Hmm.
right? And the complaint, if you sit in divorce court, right? Just entertain yourself by going to divorce court, right? If you sit there, what you will experience is that the complaint is that the male was not available, not interested, absent from the family. These are all emotional dynamics.
It's all bull crap.
It's crap.
It,
It
it
is
is. It
alarming.
is. It, you're 100% right. And he probably wanted to be more present, more
Right,
plugged in, more
right,
loving. Wasn't
right,
allowed to. Wasn't
right.
allowed to.
Not allowed to,
Yeah.
because we have that expectation that men are supposed to be stoic, they're not supposed to be emotional, they're supposed to be providers, they're not supposed to be engaged.
We
It's
don't mean engaged just by
crazy.
finger, by a ring. We mean,
No, no, I mean in
we-
terms of
yeah,
interaction,
engaged into, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Interact. I mean, think about it. You have a daughter, right?
I have two
And-
actually.
oh, good. Okay, so here's what I imagine. All right. If you were interested, like, okay, so when my daughter was in middle school,
Hmm.
I engaged her in taking her um, 2 or 3 times a week out to get ice cream, right? If my husband had done that, if you had done that, there would have been some suspicion. What's he doing? Why does he want to take her by herself?
Mm,
Right? What is this all about? It's insane that that would have been the suspicion.
horrible.
Hmm
And now my daughter, 15, lives with me, not with
hmm
her mom.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of what you're saying is true because her mom, I'm gonna get personal here, went in a different direction and is actually with somebody who is just like her father, and just not me. Like
Right.
I'm a totally, and I can see it's a totally different dynamic. And
hmm
I'm, I'll talk about my biggest challenge now is I'm single, finding women that are more emotionally available.
Right.
Big
Yeah,
problem.
absolutely.
I'm not even kidding. It's like, it's like, not that I'm a pushover, not that I'm like overly mushy or anything like that. I think I am, but they don't know how to
As
handle it.
women, we don't expect men to have an emotional life. We expect them to
Exactly.
be practical, not emotional. All right. Will you change my tire? Will you fix the screen door? We expect
Yeah,
them to be practical, not emotional. And they're emotional human beings.
it's crazy. And I do all of that, and you'll get roses too. Not even kidding. But yes, you're right. And I truly believe it's the conditioning of society.
Right.
And that
It
and
really is.
from day one, literally from
Right.
day one, because the guy was the provider. He had,
Right.
even cave people
It
time.
it had practical implications early on. It's no longer functional.
Yeah.
If we
And
really look at the truth that men have the capability of having a broader emotional range than women, we need to bring them into the real world and allow them to use that emotional range.
we need to go public even more with this. Because,
Yes, we'll do a
you know,
campaign.
yes, because I believe that many guys are getting a bad rap.
They
And
are.
when they get out of a relationship, be it a marriage, they're finally being themselves, even with
Hmm.
their kids. And their kids are probably looking at it like, what the heck happened to dad
Right.
there?
What happened to you? Right.
Who is this guy? And maybe it was because of I don't want to say the conditioning of his partner, his mom, the mom,
No,
and
it is the culture. The
it's the
culture
culture.
does that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in the process of writing a book about men and boys that I hope will influence men to really take ownership of their emotional lives because they deserve to take ownership of their emotional lives.
I 100% agree with you. And they also deserve to find somebody who supports that,
Right,
supports that, is
right.
okay with it, not
Mm-hmm.
tries to shut it down or look at like,
Right.
what's wrong with you? And then a lot of times, the guy will look at the woman and say, and I hear this from other guys, like,
Mm-hmm.
how come she's not, and I don't mean physically affectionate, just that. How come she's just not more, in touch with her feelings? Like, what she's like,
Right.
she's closed off.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because of the guys that she's been with, where they are,
Possible. Yeah,
and
so
they're
very
not
possible.
vulnerable. Yeah, what a shame. It's, but
Mm-hmm.
it is, in terms of society, it's very obvious, what has happened and why most guys are that way.
Right. And it will make a difference long term. I think there is a movement about to really facilitate educating younger boys to be able to express themselves as real people and
Yeah.
not just fit into a peg.
Well, here's what comes to mind for me about a lot of boys growing up, because they were suppressed emotionally, because they try to express themselves, they're labeled as children with issues. Oh,
Right,
he's hyperactive. He's
right,
ADD. He's got issues, all of
right.
that. No. And I know somebody, a good friend of mine, whose son, when he was like 7, 6, 5, all through there, he was like crazy. He was all over the place, jumping around. He is the like straight A student. He's 23 now. He works for a corporation, so
Mm-hmm,
professional, now has his own child, different
mm-hmm.
kid. But now that I think back, and I was wrong for assuming that he's hyperactive. Even me around him and be like, oh, wow.
Right.
He's like,
Mm-hmm.
but now I'm seeing it in a different light. He probably
Right.
wanted to express himself, was never able to.
Right.
His parents did get divorced eventually. There was probably rifts going on there, and then he was
Yeah, and
feeling
that's so stressful.
right, but he wasn't able to really express himself emotionally because he got shut down.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Wow, how sad. Yeah.
Yeah, truly.
Why isn't
Right.
this more talked about?
Ah, good question. Because there's such a history for millennial, really. I mean, it's for hundreds of years, right?
Hmm.
We have needed men to be in the hunter-gatherer position, and they cannot be emotionally aware, right? You cannot be smelling flowers while a mastodon is heading towards you. It just will not work, right? Mother females back in the cave taking care of the infants. You have to be hyper focused on just survival and providing.
Which I get. It's unfortunate, but you can also be loving, nurturing, and kick some butt. It's okay. And a woman could do the same exact thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
I
But
mean, we're moving in that direction. We could
sure.
move faster. It would
Well,
be
hold on.
delightful.
Hold on, Gloria. So this is my
Mhm.
view. Yes,
Uh-huh.
we're moving in that direction. Equality for women. Yes, all of the above. You know, they're doing jobs now that they wouldn't have done, say,
Correct.
40 years
Right.
ago, and all of that. Fantastic. But nothing has changed for guys in this regards
I
that
was
we're
going to
talking
say, but
about.
it doesn't mean suppression for men. And
Right.
what's really happening is that as women advance, men are feeling suppressed.
Well, point point well taken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that really has to change.
because
That is already undermining our society.
I am woman, hear me roar. Okay, fantastic. But then, I am the guy, and now
Right.
I'm, getting
And I'm
swashed.
not valued anymore. My
Right.
skill set doesn't matter anymore. I can't get a job anymore. Think of the implications of that devaluing
Mm.
of the male quality.
And forget about showing any emotion at that point.
Mhm.
You
Right.
there's no, yeah, it's not going to happen because, as a guy, many would think I got to hold my ground. I got to
Mhm.
hang in there. Wow. Interesting talk today. Gee. And you know what? It was a couple of weeks ago during another podcast. You had mentioned this when we were talking about children.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it was like, that's interesting, but I didn't really see the full picture that we're seeing right here. Yeah.
Good. It is a significant piece of information for the culture as a whole.
What a shame. And I have
Mhm.
to, even looking at my friends and situations that guys are in, a lot
Mhm.
of it does start here. A lot of it
It
does
does.
start here
It does.
because, emotion is the driver of just about everything. And if a guy's not allowed to express himself,
Right.
literally not allowed. Yeah, because if you do, you're going to be, oh, look at the wimp.
You're going to be
Oh, wimp.
shamed, right? You're going to
You're
made
going to be
fun
shamed.
of. You're going to be shamed if you have access to the full range of emotion that women have access to.
Right.
You will be shamed.
But again, in my view of things, many women aren't that emotional. It's kind of
In,
shocking, and
in many
and
ways, that's true.
and I
Hmm.
think a lot of it is what we're just talking about now, where they they're finding more opportunity, and that's all fantastic. Everybody should be
Hmm.
equal. Yes, 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 but also equal that guys can be emotional as
That's
well.
right.
Yeah,
That's right. It
keep
should
on
be reciprocal in that way.
keep on writing that book, and if you need somebody to write the foreword, I'm right here.
All right. I'll have you do that.
How do we, if somebody wants to navigate, listen, even if a guy is listening and saying, oh, man, that's me. And I don't even know what to do about it. I don't know how to express myself, or anybody wants to reach out to you. Your website is your name,
So
right?
go to my website and sign up for my blog. You will be grateful that you did. The website is www.drvanderhorst. So it's www.drvanderhorst.com. Bottom of the first page, sign up for my blog.
I'm on it. And you're on to something, Gloria. And if this gets out and gets widespread,
Right.
it's a game changer. Trust me.
It is a game changer.
It
It'll
really is.
change the culture for the better.
But it's not something that has to be and again, this is based on research, but if it's acceptable that we talk about it, so many guys will say, yeah, that's me. I'm not allowed to be, I'm not allowed to be me because of society.
That's right.
Great talk today.
Thanks. Nice to be with you.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm a guy. Just saying it's very interesting.
No, I trust you.
I look forward next time we get together.
All right. Thanks.
All right. We're coming right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.